When we're trying to solve these rational equations, what we're looking for first is the lowest common denominator. And essentially what we're going to do is we're going to multiply all three parts in this case by that lowest common denominator. In order to determine what our lowest common denominator is, first we have to factor this one here. I've got a k squared plus 3k minus 10. I've got that twice here, so I need to factor that out to tell me what my factors are so we can determine our least common denominator. Well, when you factor those two numbers that multiply together to give you negative 10, but add together to give you 3, are positive 5 and negative 2. So my factors are going to be k minus 2 times k plus 5. Okay, and that's going to be the same on both of these. Now this makes it nice. We have a k minus 2 here, k minus 2 here, and a k plus 5. So our least common denominator in this case is going to be k minus 2 times k plus 5. Okay, and that's going to become important. So I'm going to get rid of these factors here just for a moment. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to multiply each section by k minus 2 times k plus 5. This section here times that, the middle section, and then the last section over here as well. So we'll do that now. And I kind of written a little bit small, and it makes it a little bit hard to read it sometimes, but essentially all I'm doing is multiplying this one, k minus 2 times k plus 5, times this first section right here, and that's the section up here. Then I do that same thing, that lowest common denominator again, k minus 2 times k plus 5, times this middle section here. And then I do that again to the last section over here. Okay, now I'm going to simplify it just a little bit, make it a little bit easier to read. Okay, so I got k minus 2 times k plus 5 times k plus 6. So that's all on top right here. I got it all from right here. And that's over whatever was on the denominator before. So this is k squared plus 3k minus 10. Or k minus 2 times k plus 5. And I leave it in the factored form because it's going to make it a lot easier when we try to cancel all these out. I do the same thing here, 1 times k minus 2 times k plus 5. So I've got that on top over whatever my denominator was previously. And then lastly, I do it over here as well, k minus 2 times k plus 5 times 3k plus 18. Now we're going to go through each one of these and section them off. If you notice right here, I've got a k minus 2 on top and bottom. So with that, I can just cross both of those two off. I do that now. Now right here, I've got a k plus 5 on top and bottom as well. Remember, this is multiplication. As long as we're crossing off the entire quantity, then we can do that. And I'll do that now. I'll cross off that entire quantity. Next, over here, I've got a k minus 2 on top and bottom. I'm going to cross both of those off. And over here, I've got a k minus 2 on top and bottom as well. I cross both of those off. And lastly, I've got a k plus 5 on top and bottom. So I'm going to cross both of those off. Okay, and this looks fairly complicated now because we've crossed so many things off. But the good news is, because we did cross so many of them off, it's going to simplify it a bit. I'm going to write what I have left here. I've got a k plus 6 plus 1 times k plus 5, which is just k plus 5. And then on this side of the equal sign, I've got a 3k plus 18. So I'm going to write that all down here. K plus 6, I got that right from here. That was the only thing left. And then plus k plus 5, so I got that right here, equals 3k plus 18. Now I look at this, and it's a fairly simple equation to solve. I look for common terms here, like terms that I can combine. I see my k's I can combine. My 6 and my 5 I can combine, so I go ahead and mark those. Then I go ahead and combine those next. So that's going to give me a 2k plus 11 equals 3k plus 18. Now what I'm going to do is get all my k's on one side, and it doesn't matter what side you get them all onto. I'm going to subtract 2k from both sides just to get them both over here on the right hand side. Okay, so that leaves me k plus 18 equals 11. Now I want to get my 18 on the other side. I subtract 18 from both sides. I find out that k equals negative 7, but any types of these equations, you always want to plug them back in to the original equation and make sure that it actually works. If you do plug in negative 7 to this entire equation, you do find out that it does work, so then we're okay. Our answer is indeed negative 7.